The core inspiration, uneasy encounters with seemingly ordinary people that reveal hidden dangers, is preserved, but reimagined as interconnected experiences in the life of the protagonist, Alex Rivera, a 22-year-old college student home for the summer. Alex works days at a logging supply store and nights at a roadside diner, creating opportunities for strange interactions. The emotional tone remains one of creeping dread, building suspense through subtle hints of malice with themes of isolation, hidden motives, and the thin line between helpfulness and peril. All names, backgrounds, relationships, and motivations are changed. Alex is now from a mixed Hispanic-American family, motivated by a desire to save for grad school rather than casual summer fun. The setting shifts to misty, forested backroads near a foggy lake, with new subplots involving a local legend of vanished hitchhikers and a personal family secret about Alex's missing uncle, adding depth and twists. The plot structure is resequenced into a linear progression over one intense week, starting with mundane routine and escalating to a climactic revelation, unlike the original's episodic anecdotes. Dialogue is natural, concise English, avoiding complexity for narration. New characters include Lena, Alex's sharp-witted co-worker at the store, who becomes a confidant and adds a subplot of budding romance tinged with suspicion. Marcus, a reclusive veteran customer with a limp, reimagined from the first story's farmer, but now a potential informant on local crimes. Riley, a disheveled teen runaway encountered in the woods transformed from the second story's kid, but with a twist involving stolen tech instead of guns tying into a cyber threat subplot. And Jordan, a charismatic but unstable drifter picked up on the road, evolved from the third story's hitchhiker whose breakdown reveals a cult-like obsession. Atmospheric details emphasize foggy evenings, rustling evergreens, and echoing lake sounds for immersion. New twists. A hidden connection between the encounters, suggesting a larger conspiracy involving an underground network preying on travelers. An unexpected outcome where Alex discovers a family link to the dangers. And added scenes of Alex investigating online, leading to a false sense of security. Open with Alex arriving home to the misty town of Evergreen Hollow, describing the isolation. No local police, just occasional forest rangers. Establish Alex's dual jobs, stocking chainsaws and ropes at the supply store, and serving coffee at the diner. Introduce Lena during a slow shift. They bond over shared boredom, hinting at her mysterious past. New subplot. She's fleeing an abusive ex. End section with Alex's first encounter. While closing the store, Marcus, a weathered mid-50s logger with a pronounced limp from an old injury, buys heavy rope and tarps, paying cash. He asks for help loading, offering $30 to drive to his cabin off Highway 101, citing knee pain. Alex agrees, sensing harmlessness but noting Marcus's weathered tan and graying hair. Alex Rivera pulled his beat-up Ford pickup into the gravel lot of Evergreen Supply, the engine sputtering like it always did after the long drive from college. It was early June, and the Pacific Northwest air hung heavy with the scent of damp pine and distant rain. Evergreen Hollow wasn't much of a place, technically not even a town, just a scatter of homes and shops along Highway 101, hugged by thick forests that stretched to the foggy shores of Mirror Lake. No mayor, no library, no cops. The nearest forest ranger might cruise through every few days, but that was it. Alex had grown up here, in a modest house with his parents and younger sister, but after 3 years at university in Seattle, coming home felt like stepping into a time warp. The isolation used to bother him as a kid, but now it was a break from the city noise. He needed the money anyway. 2 jobs to save for grad school. Days at the supply store, stocking chainsaws, ropes, and logging gear. Nights at the lakeside diner, slinging burgers and coffee to truckers and locals. The store was a squat building with weathered wood siding, its sign creaking in the breeze. Inside, the air smelled of oiled metal and sawdust. Alex clocked in and nodded to his co-worker, Lena Torres, who was behind the counter sorting invoices. She was new in town, maybe a year older than him, with dark hair tied back and a quick smile that hid something sharper in her eyes. "Morning, Alex. Ready for another thrilling day of selling axes to hermits?" she teased. her voice light but with a hint of an accent he couldn't place. Maybe Southwest, like she'd mentioned once. "Yeah, can't wait," Alex replied, grabbing a box of nails to restock. They fell into easy chatter as the morning dragged on. Lena was good company, unlike some of the old-timers who'd worked here before. She shared stories of traveling cross-country before landing in Evergreen, but never went into details about why she'd stopped. Alex didn't pry. He had his own secrets, like the nagging worry about his Uncle Carlos, who'd vanished on these back roads 10 years ago. Official story was a hiking accident, but whispers in town said otherwise, something about shady deals gone wrong. It was the kind of thing that kept Alex alert, even in a place as quiet as this. The day was slow, typical for midweek. A few loggers came in for chains and gloves, their boots tracking mud across the floor. Alex helped load a truck with fertilizer bags, his muscles aching from the weight. He liked the physical work. It beat staring at textbooks. As closing time neared, Lena handed him a ticket from the register. "Last one. Ton of heavy-duty rope and tarps. Paid cash." Alex glanced at the slip. No name, just the items. He hopped on the forklift, maneuvering a pallet from the warehouse. The bay doors were open, letting in the cool afternoon air. A battered Dodge flatbed backed up to the dock, its engine rumbling. The driver stepped out. A man in his mid-50s, about 5'10", with a solid build, wearing faded flannel and jeans. He had a tan face lined from years outdoors, salt and pepper hair graying at the sides, and a noticeable limp as he approached. Looked like a typical small-time logger, the kind who scraped by on private land cuts. "Hey there," Alex called, lowering the pallet. "That all for you?" The man nodded, his eyes steady. "Marcus Hale. Yeah, that's mine." "Mind giving a hand loading?" "Busted knee acting up, old logging injury. I'll toss you $20 if you ride over to my place and help unload. Just off the highway, couple miles, no forklift at home." Alex hesitated. He'd done this before with regulars, but Marcus was new. Still, the guy seemed straightforward, and it was quitting time. "Sure, I can do that. Let me clock out." He waved goodbye to Lena, who raised an eyebrow. "Be careful out there. Fog's rolling in early today." "Always am," Alex said with a grin, but her words stuck with him. He followed Marcus's truck onto Highway 101, a twisting two-lane road flanked by towering evergreens. Locals called it the ghost stretch for all the wildlife crashes, deer, elk, even bears wandering out. The fog was thickening, turning the world gray and muffled. After a few miles, Marcus turned onto a rutted dirt road that snaked uphill through the trees. Alex hadn't been this way much. It led to scattered cabins, the kind where people went to disappear. The road narrowed, branches scraping the sides of his truck. Marcus stopped at a rusted chain-link gate and waved Alex over. "Might want to hop in with me. Trail gets rough. Hard to turn around with two vehicles." Alex locked his Ford and climbed into the Dodge. The cab smelled of cigarette smoke and pine air freshener. Classic rock crackled from the radio, some old Eagles tune. As they bounced along, Alex spotted a roach clip in the ashtray, half a joint still attached. Marcus caught his glance and chuckled. "Helps with the knee. Doctor's orders, sorta. You indulge?" "Nah, not really," Alex lied, thinking of the occasional smoke with college friends. They chatted lightly. Weather, logging prices. A deep pothole jarred the truck, and something slid out from under the seat. A short utility knife with a wooden handle and curved blade, crusted with dried blood along the edge. Alex's stomach tightened. It looked like a gutting knife common for hunters around here. But the blood was fresh enough to gleam faintly. "Sorry about that," Marcus said casually, not taking his eyes off the road. "Used it on a buck the other night. Forgot to clean it. Just slide it back under, grab the handle so you don't get messy." Alex used his sleeve to nudge it away, alarm bells ringing. Why so nonchalant? It reminded him of those true crime podcasts he listened to, where little details added up to big trouble. They pulled up to a sturdy pole barn, its metal roof sagging slightly. No house in sight, just the barn and woods. They started unloading the rope and tarps, stacking them inside to keep dry. Marcus limped but worked steadily at first. As they labored, he started asking odd questions. "You hear about folks around here running side gigs? Like moving stuff through the backroads?" Alex shrugged, keeping it vague. "Not much, why?" "Just talk, there's this guy in town, they say he got in deep with some bad loans, ended up missing, you know him? Name's Ellis or something." "Nope," Alex said, though the name rang a bell from old news. A local who'd vanished last year. Marcus pressed on about small-time operators who bite off more than they can chew, how debts weren't like missing rent. People came collecting. Alex's mind raced. Was this guy a dealer, a cop, or something worse? He finished the last stack alone while Marcus sat on a crate, watching. "Gotta hit the head," Marcus said suddenly, heading toward the trees. "Back in a sec." Alone, Alex's pulse quickened. He slipped to the truck, retrieved the knife with his shirt, wiped any prints and replaced it. Then, heart pounding, he peeked in the glove box. Receipts, a lighter, and under them, a small pistol next to a cracked glass pipe, residue dark inside. Definitely not a cop. What was this guy into? Marcus returned, phone in hand, looking flustered. They'd barely driven back down the trail when he blurted, "Shoot, forgot, I ain't got cash on me." "Sorry, kid." "No worries," Alex muttered, hand near the door handle. The ride back was silent, Alex's foot brushing the knife spot for reassurance. At his truck, he peeled out fast, fog swallowing the road behind him. He never saw Marcus at the store again, but the encounter lingered like a bad dream. That night, after a quick dinner with his family, his mom asking about college, his sister buried in her phone, Alex headed to the lakeside diner. The place was a neon-lit relic on the highway, serving greasy spoon fare to night owls. His shift started slow, a few truckers nursing coffee. Lena wasn't there. She worked days mostly, but her earlier warning echoed as he wiped counters. Around midnight, rain started pattering the windows. Alex decided to take the wooded shortcut home, a trail behind the diner that cut through the forest to his neighborhood, avoiding the slick highway. The path was narrow, roots twisting underfoot, the air thick with moss and wet earth. His flashlight beam danced ahead, cutting through the darkness. About halfway in, a rustle stopped him. There, emerging from a side path, was a kid, maybe 17, skinny with messy blonde hair full of leaves, wearing a soiled hoodie and jeans caked in mud at the knees. He looked wild, eyes wide and breath coming in gasps, like he'd been running or hiding. "Hey," Alex said, keeping distance. "You okay?" The kid, Riley, he later said, wiped his face. "Yeah, man, just taking a walk. You from around here?" "Born and raised. You?" "Dropped off at the community center this morning for some program. Skipped it, been hanging out." He glanced back nervously as if expecting someone. Alex nodded, but something felt off. The kid's clothes were too disheveled for a casual stroll, and his hands trembled slightly. "Well, trail's that way to the road. Stay safe. Rain's picking up." As Alex moved past, Riley fell in step. "Wait, can you give me a lift? My ride bailed and it's pouring. I live just down the highway." "Sorry, heading the other way," Alex lied, picking up pace. He remembered stories from high school buddies about sketchy hitchers in these woods. Riley's tone shifted, more urgent. "Come on, dude. People might start looking for me soon. Got in some trouble." "What kind?" The kid hesitated, then pulled something from his waistband, a laptop scratched and dirty. "Broke into a camper at the lake site. Took this. Has stuff on it, files about people going missing around here. Proof of some crap going down." Alex's heart skipped. "You serious? Put that away, that's stolen, cops could be out." Riley's eyes narrowed. "That's why I need a ride. They'll find me if I stay. You gotta help." "Nah, I'm good," Alex said firmly, echoing a bravado he didn't feel. He started jogging, branches whipping his arms. Looking back, Riley stood there, laptop tucked away, staring. Then he vanished into the underbrush. By the time Alex reached his truck, sirens wailed in the distance. He drove home shaking, mind reeling. What files? Missing people? Like his uncle? The next day, Alex confided in Lena at the store. "Weird night. Ran into this kid in the woods. Stole a laptop with some conspiracy stuff. Lena's face paled slightly. You okay? I've heard rumors, folks disappearing on the backroads. Be careful who you trust. They spent the afternoon slow, but Lena opened up a bit, mentioning she'd left her old life after a bad relationship. Alex felt a spark, but pushed it aside. That evening, rain hammered down as he left work. On the highway, he spotted a figure waving, drenched, backpack slung over one shoulder. Against better judgment, he pulled over. Thanks, man, the guy said, climbing in. Jordan, he introduced himself, early 20s with a disarming grin and festival bracelets. Heading to a music thing in Portland, but my ride ditched me. Alex nodded. I can drop you at the motel up ahead. They chatted. Jordan shared tales of Vegas coasters and desert parties, making Alex laugh. But as fog thickened, Jordan grew quiet, mumbling. At the motel, Alex paid for a room to crash, exhausted. Jordan joined for beers, but soon excused himself to the bath. Splashing started, loud and erratic, then banging, water sloshing. You good? Alex called. Mumbles. More noise. Then clear as day. Praise the guardians and praise the watchers. Oh, praise the shadows. Water seeped under the door, brown and flecked. Alex pounded on it. Jordan! The door flew open. Jordan, wild-eyed, flinging water. They're coming. The network sees all. Alex backed away, grabbing his keys. He fled to the truck, tires screeching. But Jordan's bag was still there. Inside, photos of Marcus and Riley, circled with notes. Targets for the lake. Days blurred. Alex dug online with Lena, uncovering lake ghosts, a legend of a group luring travelers for rituals tied to disappearances. His uncle's name popped up in old forums. Was it connected? One foggy night, driving the back road, Alex saw Marcus's truck ahead. He followed, heart racing. At the lake, Marcus waited. You shouldn't have poked around, kid. Lena arrived, but she pulled a badge. I'm investigating, but you're in deep. Betrayal hit hard. As they argued, footsteps crunched in the woods. Alex whirled, alone in the mist, a voice whispering, help us unload, or join the ghosts.